We all know that smiling face, right? The happy-go-lucky Labrador. But behind that face, there are these incredible stories of courage, of just mind-blowing loyalty, and yeah, even a little bit of chaos. So today, we're going to open the doors to the Labrador Hall of Fame.
I mean, you see them everywhere, in parks, in family homes all over the globe. The lab is just this super familiar, friendly face. And in a lot of countries, it's the most popular breed by a country mile.
But here's the thing. That reputation, it's just the surface. Underneath all that, there's a history of really focused breeding, unbelievable heroism, and a level of devotion that's just profound. So what is the real story behind that wagging tail?
All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the foundation of the breed itself. Then we'll get into their stories as heroes on the front line. After that, a life of devotion to individuals. And finally, we'll see how they became these famous pups in the public eye.
Okay, so let's jump in. Our story actually starts, maybe surprisingly, not in Labrador, but in 19th century Scotland. This is where a couple of aristocratic families really started to craft the breed that we know and love today. It all kicks off in the 1830s when the Duke of Buccleuch starts importing these tough water dogs from Newfoundland. But the real game changer, that happens in the 1880s. The Duke's heir and the Earl of Malmesbury merge their kennels, and in 1885, a legend is born, Buccleuch Avon. It's wild to think about, but almost every Labrador on the planet can trace its lineage back to him. And it didn't take long. By 1906, his descendants were already winning big, which just goes to show how successful this breeding program was.
So what exactly were they going for? Well, the old records give us a pretty clear checklist. They needed a great nose for tracking, what they called a tender mouth so it wouldn't damage the game it was retrieving, and of course, an intelligent and courageous temperament. You throw in that thick, waterproof double coat and that classic otter tail for steering in the water, and boom, you've got the blueprint for the perfect retriever.
Now, that special mix of smarts and guts, it didn't just make for great hunting partners. It created heroes, dogs that were capable of unbelievable acts of bravery in some of the most dangerous places you can possibly imagine.
Just listen to this. This is Jake. He was found abandoned as a puppy with a broken leg and a dislocated hip. I mean, his future did not look good. But somehow he pulled through and became one of just 200 U.S. government-certified rescue dogs. This is the dog who searched through the smoking rubble at Ground Zero after 9/11 and later navigated the flooded ruins left by Hurricane Katrina. From abandoned pup to a world-class hero, it's just incredible.
And then you've got Zanjir, the hero of Mumbai. After the city was hit by horrific bombings in 1993, his work was just staggering. Get this, he found over 3,000 kilograms of RDX explosives, plus hundreds of military bombs, grenades, and detonators. There's just no telling how many lives he saved. Okay, now look at this number, 14. It's not the number of medals, it's not the number of bombs found, it's the number of months a Special Forces dog was missing in action, right in the middle of a war zone. Her name was Sarbi. She was an Australian explosives detection dog in Afghanistan. During a fierce ambush, she just vanished. Everyone thought she was gone for good. But then, 14 months later, an American soldier finds her living with a local family. On a hunch, he tries a few voice commands, and she responds. After all that time, against all odds, Sarbi was going home. So you see what's going on here, right? We have these 3 Labradors, and they're using those same core traits in totally different ways. You've got Jake in urban search and rescue, Zanjir in explosives detection, and Sarbi in pure, raw survival. Their courage was just so adaptable, and in those moments, that adaptability changed everything. But you know, heroism isn't always about one big, explosive moment. For some Labradors, it's a lifetime of quiet, dedicated service to just one person. And that's a different kind of courage, but it's every bit as profound. Let me introduce you to Endel. They call him the most decorated dog in the world. And what's amazing is that he did it all while dealing with his own painful joint condition. He was a service dog for a disabled Royal Navy veteran named Alan Parton, and he learned hundreds of signed commands, could grab items off supermarket shelves, and, get this, was the first dog ever known to operate a chip and pin ATM. So in 2001, his owner gets knocked out of his wheelchair by a car and is unconscious. Now, Endel had no specific training for this, but he just springs into action. First, he pulls his owner into the recovery position. Then he gets the man's cell phone from under the car.
Then he covers him with a blanket. And finally, he runs to a nearby hotel to get help. That's not training, that's problem solving. It's just unbelievable. And, devotion can be much quieter too. A lot of you will probably remember Sully H.W. Bush. He served former President George H.W. Bush for the last 6 months of his life, giving him constant companionship and support while the president was dealing with Parkinson's. And after the president passed, that one photo of Sully just lying there right by the casket, it went viral. The caption said it all: mission complete. It perfectly captured this dog's quiet, unwavering loyalty. And his service isn't over. He's now at Walter Reed, comforting wounded service members. So we've seen them go from the battlefield to the bedside, doing this incredible service. But at the same time, Labradors have become these huge cultural icons, kind of reflecting our own lives back at us from the biggest stages imaginable. Just think about two of the most famous labs from the last few decades. On one side, you have Buddy, President Bill Clinton's dog. He was the first dog living this very public, structured life in the White House. And on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have Marley from Marley and Me. He was famously called the world's worst dog, and he became this perfect symbol for the messy, chaotic, but incredibly loving reality of having a dog in the family. So through these two, one representing order, the other total chaos, the entire spectrum of what a Labrador is got beamed right into millions of living rooms. They weren't just pets anymore. They were like ambassadors for the breed, really cementing their place in our culture. So when you step back and look at the big picture, the Labrador legacy is just so rich and varied. It's built on this solid foundation of purpose-bred excellence, which unlocked their ability for frontline heroism, for a life of deep devotion, and for that simple, everyday companionship that so many of us know and love. Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. Whether they're pulling a veteran to safety or, just stealing your toast off the kitchen counter, there's this connection that's just undeniable. Hero, companion, icon. What do you think it is that really makes that bond between people and Labradors so powerful?